Allow me to extend a warm welcome to all the viewers on the internet and around the world. It is sunrise on YouTube, morning on Facebook, noon on Twitter, midday on Threads, afternoon on Twitch, sunset on Instagram, and evening on Rumble. I am your host, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme, the Phantom Menace, he who remains, and the master of the deceptive arts. We are broadcasting live directly from the sanctum of solitude and the citadel at the end of time. Hello everyone, welcome again to another video hosted by yours truly, the Ancient One, the Bachelor Supreme. And I want to talk today about primarily why I hate the counterpart. And the title of this video will be Deception is an Act of War. And this is really why I hate the counterpart, is because of their deceptive, insidious, what they call nature. But I would call it their habits. Deception is an act of war. Why is this statement profound? Why is this statement the head of this video, the title of this video? And it's because it's true, right? You can only be betrayed by the people that you trust, right? And if those people betray you, if those people deceive you and lie to you, it is an indication that they want to do you harm. Some people will say that they lie to you because they want to protect you. Nothing could be further from the truth. A person who loves you will give you the difficult information so that you can be prepared for the difficult times and the tough situation should it arise, rather than pretending that this difficult situation doesn't exist at all. Now, this deception, these lies, are really the cause of every conflict in your relationship. When the two people, the bender, the counterpart, or the bachelor and the counterpart, God forbid, but when two people, even more, come into a relationship, the assumption is that they are on one accord, right? You have a past, I have a past, you have a history, I have a history. You've made mistakes, I've made mistakes. But we come together with the agreement that we are moving forward together, right? And when the counterpart betrays that deal, right, when they renege and retake their commitment, their honesty, this is the start of every conflict. It's not a question of we see things differently. Like what you like hamburgers and the other person likes pizzas, right? This is not the issue, right? This is an issue of I required your commitment in order to get into this relationship. A relationship in which I have given money, time, and effort. And on a whim, on an emotion, you reneged on that deal and thereby started betraying me and stabbing me in the back. But the problem isn't that you left. It isn't that you met somebody else, you fell in love with that person and moved on. The issue is while you were entertaining that other person, you kept telling me one story and another person another story, right? If these two people who you've been lying to come into conflict with each other, the damage is only going to be done to the people that were deceived, right? And once that is resolved, then they might just move on to the deceiver, right? But as a young man, you don't know this. As a young knee bender, you don't know this, right? You don't come to this realization early on, and some men never actually do, right? They never come to the realization that they are being lied to, they are being betrayed. Whether it was pre planned or they had a change of mind during the relationship, right? And the it's not just that the counterpart is lying to you. You have to understand they are also lying to the knee benders. And the knee benders and the counterparts are also lying to you. So this betrayal just keeps going on and on. This deception keeps going on and on to the point where you are socialized into this deception. From the day you were born, your family, your friends, your religious institution, your school, right? They all socialize you into believing this deception, right? They go as far as to affirm the lies, telling you all kinds of things, sugar and spice, the sweetest people, you can trust her, you can, all of that plays into you believing a lie, right? And you are never given the counter to that. You are never given the opposite. You are never told, hey, this person is going to betray you. You don't really know them. You've only known them a few months. They've got decades of history that you know nothing about, right? Nobody will ever tell you this. Nobody will ever tell you this. And all they are doing is creating the set of circumstances for you to overcommit yourself into your own demise, because eventually you are going to start believing that this is a person that you can build a future with and you can build a family with. And of course, we both know that that's not going to happen. Ultimately, you're just going to get divorced and she's going to take all your stuff. She's going to take your house, everything, right? Now, have I been betrayed? Of course, I've been betrayed. I've been lied to. I've been stabbed in the back. I've been misled. And then I've been told that those lies, those deceptions, that betrayal is okay. It's part of the game. It's part of the nature of things, right? And this is why I vehemently hate, I despise, and I'm completely against every counterpart. I would go as far as to say I would, if it was up to me, I wouldn't work with a counterpart at all. The only time I've worked with a counterpart was because I had no choice. I needed the job and I needed the money. And they had just hundreds of counterparts there, and I knew it wasn't going to last. And of course, it didn't, right? But there are men who are persuaded to overlook this deception, to overlook this act of war, right? And they, again, are raised into a system of lies, right? Managed by liars who themselves were, raised and, were born and raised from liars, right? And you become them. You become them. As the master of the deceptive arts, I have embraced the deceptive arts because we live in a deceptive world. And I knew this as I grew older and older and older. You find that you have less and less and less people that you trust. Ultimately, you just end up not trusting anyone. And hence, this is why I'm here living the bachelor life, right? Ultimately, all roads, I believe, will lead you to the same conclusion. All roads will lead you to the bachelor life. And you are more than welcome to go and try and find another way. And you're just going to get disappointed. You're just going to get deceived and betrayed. And you might say that I am a bitter man. I am. And I'll happily admit that, because you should be too. You should be so angry that you were lied to, you were betrayed, you were coerced into investing into someone that you would otherwise not have, cared for at all, right? You wouldn't have bothered. So I know that I've been betrayed because I come from that system, right? Like you, I was born into that system. And it is the system itself that is part of the lie, right? The system is economics, right? When people talk about, well, there's a system that's going on, what they're talking about is economics, right? This is not just the reason for the lies or the purpose of the lies, it is what continues the need for the lies, right? Because you need money to live, right? You need money to live in this world, and so do they. And they cannot get your money as a bachelor because if you stay purely a bachelor, even a vasectomite, you will have no incentive on spending money on nonsense. So what you'll do is you'll start saving and you'll avoid stupid investments. Please do not invest in these stupid companies. Don't give away money in exchange for your paper. Watch my video, The Bachelor Economy. It lays it all out. Investments are just a bad, bad deal. You take your money, give it to somebody else, and they give you what? A promise in return? Unacceptable, right? So if you are not spending money on gifts, on dates, on relationships, on the belief and the prospect of love and companionship, on the belief and the idea that you're going to meet your soulmate, a word that doesn't exist. I've mentioned this before. Soulmate is an invention of the Tiffany company, the diamond ring jewelry company, and they invented the word soulmate to convince you to buy a ring, a diamond ring, an expensive diamond ring for a complete stranger, right? So they get you in on dating with the promise of a relationship with a person who has no intention of living up to their promise, right? They just want the dating experience. They want someone to spend money on them for the sole purpose that they are who they are. They were born, and you have to spend money on that fact, right? You're going to be buying gifts. You're going to be buying jewelries. You're going to be buying flowers, chocolates. You're just going to be paying, and you're going to pay yourself up to marriage. Now, some people will tell you that marriage is the ultimate payment. No, no, no. It's those goddamn kids. It's those kids that you shouldn't have had because you should have went and got a vasectomy. Like I've been telling you every single day, go get your vasectomy. Go get your vasectomy. You can leave an ungrateful wife. You can leave a cantankerous wife, but you can't leave those kids. You can never get rid of those kids. That's your biggest expense. And once they got you on the hook for those kids, you're paying everything: shoes, clothes, socks, shirts, hats, different kinds of hats in different types of colors for different types of occasions, and so on and so on, right? And as long as you are insistent on having the dating experience, you give them direct access to your money. Well, direct or indirect. But as long as you are insisting on participating in these activities, they will take your money, and they're right to do so. And I've been saying it all along. The winning move is not to play the game because they have it set up from the banks to the governments to the school to the daycare to toy companies, car companies, restaurants, music concerts, movie theaters, plays, you name it. These are all businesses that are just waiting for you to meet some woman and want to take her out somewhere to do something that you cannot do for yourself. So you can't sing a song for her and have a conversation with her at the same time. You can't act on stage and be sitting next to her on the same seat. So you need to be sitting on that seat while somebody on stage is entertaining you. And that person on stage is going to take your money. Right? The next group of people, so you got the system lying to you. The entire economic system is selling you a dream so that they can take your money in various ways, whether it's with the necessities that you need, the luxuries, or the entertainment that you have. That's all money. All those things are businesses, and they're going to take your money. They're absolutely going to take your money. The other person that is extremely deceptive in this issue is the counterpart themselves. Now, you must understand that the counterpart in their nature, and while I mean this as rudely and as heartfelt as I'm going to say it, when you think about it, it's true. The counterpart is entirely incompetent and utterly useless. And I'm not saying that because I have a personal gripe against the counterpart, because I do, right? Because I do. But you know these things going into these so-called relationships, into this solicitation called dating. And you go into this as a man, not expecting this counterpart to pay nothing, right? Not expecting this counterpart to be able to lift anything or push anything or pull anything or tie anything or open anything or even change anything, right? They can't change no tires. They can't change no curtains. They can't unhinge a door. They can't do nothing that is required to survive in this world, right? And because they can't do anything by themselves, it means they also can't do anything for themselves, right? Think of it like this. We have a 100,000-year documented history of humanity, which means for 1,000 years we've been able to tell our own stories of ourselves and have those stories read and deciphered by other people who are not of our kind. For 100,000 years, we've been able to share information with people all over the world. We have documented experience of humanity from the bottom of the Amazon jungle right up to the top of the North Pole, from east to west, right? Everything is being documented more and more and more. Today, we have easy access to video evidence of people just doing the most spectacular things. And in our entire history of humanity, not a single counterpart has ever built anything meaningful, anything that will stand the test of time. Not a building, not a government, not a city, not a civilization, not a single goddamn thing. If they could do it, they would have done it by now. 100,000 years, you guys can't even build one house. As a species, you can't build nothing. You can't build nothing. This is what I mean by the counterpart is utterly useless. They cannot do nothing. They cannot do anything, right? More so, they cannot overpower other people, so they can't come in and take your money and bully you and use force and strength, right? So what do? They lie, right? They manipulate, they backstab, they cheat, they steal. But the irony is, even if you gave them what they wanted, this is the frustrating thing about the counterpart. They will come up with the most outrageous things just to test you. And you've committed yourself into this. Remember, you believe their nonsense. And when they start doing the ridiculous things that they do, the outrageous things that they do, because you've overcommitted yourself. You didn't get a vasectomy. You went in there and did what you always do, and you lost your mind. And now You don't know if this counterpart is pregnant or not. And if they are, you don't know if it's yours. And if it isn't, you're off the hook, but there's a chance that it is, and they're going to keep you in that paranoia to keep you on the hook. Right? This is a person who can't do nothing for themselves. So what they have is your faith in them. They have your trust in them. And if you lose that trust, if they lose that trust and faith in you, they don't come back. They don't come back. What you see is a when a man has lost faith in a counterpart, that counterpart simply goes to seek another man. What they don't do is improve themselves because they can't. They don't change anything because they don't have the capacity to. They don't even have the capacity to change themselves, right? So what do you think they're going to do for you? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. But in our recorded history, name the number of counterparts that have destroyed perfectly functional companies. How fathers have given their children empires just for those children to squander it in less than a generation. Now, let's remember why wars are fought in the first place. Wars are fought over survival, and resources guarantee that survival. The counterpart who doesn't have the strength and the power to extract resources for themselves, they can't go out and make that money, right, and bring it home. And even if they could, it's just never enough, right? And if it is enough, it's always squandered, right? So what they need is for you to go get that money, to go get those resources and return those resources back to them nearly intact. So they're expecting ultimately to be able to manipulate you into getting 90 or even 100% of your salary. And they do this by using deception, lies, and manipulation, which, if you ask me, is exactly the same thing. It's the same tool over and over and over again. The only thing they change are the adjectives, right? The descriptions, the details, but it's the same game. It's the same skill. Think about great athletes like LeBron James. They play one game. He doesn't go play basketball one night and baseball the next night and volleyball the next night. He plays basketball every night. And the counterpart does the same thing. They play the same manipulative game over and over and over again. And as I said before, when you're a young man, it's very difficult to see until you've gone through the whole system and you've seen how this thing repeats itself over and over and over again, right? You have to understand that the reason why they lie to you is because this economic system that we are in will absolutely collapse if you knew the truth. You would absolutely not participate in any of the activities if you knew the truth. If they told you that ultimately you would be spending all your money on your kids, all your resources on your kids, and at the end of the day, there's a 90% chance that your kids are going to end up hating you and never speaking to you again, you wouldn't have them. You'd get a vasectomy. You wouldn't bother having kids that don't like you, right? You wouldn't waste your time with that. If they told you up front that your wife had 10, 20, 100 knee benders calling her on a daily basis, trying to manipulate her, trying to bargain with her, trying to get her to leave the circumstances and situation that you were in to go and spend quality time and have intimate relations with them, you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. If every man came out and told you how many of their wives had affairs on them or betrayed them or stabbed them in the back, right? If each and every single man came and spoke about not just whether they've been betrayed, but every single time they've been betrayed, you wouldn't get married. You'd never do it, right? Which means the dating economy falls apart, transportation becomes irrelevant, entertainment and art, useless. You're watching shows and listening to music you don't care about, you wouldn't pay for that. If men stopped paying for dates, dating would end. Women would not take themselves out on a date. And if they could, and if they did, they couldn't do it for very long. They couldn't keep taking themselves out night after night after night. Men can't afford to take women out every night. So what do you need? If you want to go out every night as a counterpart, and you know one man can't afford to take you out every single night, $500 a night on dinners, right? Not to mention, you're just going to be eating fatty, unhealthy foods anyway. So not only are you spending money to eat this poison, you're going to need to spend days working off that one meal in the gym. And if you're doing this every day, you're going to be obese. It's absolutely true, right? If somebody told you that your friends, your childhood friends, would end up being attracted to your partner and try to follow up that attraction, you wouldn't have any friends, right? You tell all your friends to go away. If they told you that 75%, almost 80% of marriages would fail within 10 years. So you're 25 now. By the time you're 35, you're homeless, you're destitute, you're broke, and you can't see your kids unless you get the permission of somebody else. You wouldn't be in this marriage. You wouldn't be having these kids, right? The whole system falls apart when men don't participate, which is why if they can't get you to participate with these intangibles, the love, the support, the community, the unity, to hell with the community, and all that nonsense, what they'll do is they'll shame you. They'll tell you, well, you're not a real man until you get a wife and kids. Or you're not a real man until you can support a family. Oh, yes, you are. You are a real man because you were born that way. There is no qualification to be a man. There is no education, no degree, no qualification, and no one can tell you that you're a man. You just become one. You turn 21 and you become a man, no matter where you are or what you're doing. So they'll manipulate you. They'll do it in order to get your money. All right? And if you don't, it all falls apart. It really, really, truly does. All these things cost money, right? And you are the only one with the capacity to pay that, right? They have to get you to participate by convincing you that there's a benefit for you when there actually isn't, right? They have to convince you to spend $500,000 on a wedding because you're going to believe this is the family that I'm building. This is an investment in my future. And once I've spent this money, my wife will return it to me in, I don't know, service, acts of kindness, whatever. And she's not. What she's going to say is, well, you got married to me at $500,000. If you want to keep me, it's $1 million now. And you're saying, but wait a minute, I've already paid for this. No, you haven't. The paying is continuous. And if you stop paying after you're married, you go to jail. Right? You go straight to jail. So it really comes down to what are they trying to achieve. I mentioned it before that what they're really trying to do is replace the father figure. They're trying to replace the benefactor with a knee bender. The father figure is a knee bender anyway. So all she's trying to do is get another knee bender to play the role of a knee bender. And I was one of those people who they attempted to manipulate into becoming a knee bender, into paying the bills. And upon not doing it, I was criticized. Nobody cared what my point of view was. Nobody cared that I didn't find a tangible value in this person. They wanted me to see the value, even though I couldn't do it. And when I couldn't see it, they just demanded that I close my eyes and imagine the value. Imagine that. I have real tangible money in my pocket and you're asking me to close my eyes, give it over to you, and imagine the joy that it's going to bring me. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And this is all they do. You have to understand there are billions of these people, billions of them, useless, hungry, lazy, incapable people. And what they don't want to do is see you be a bachelor. They don't want to see you live a simple life while your bank account grows and grows and grows. What they want you to do is live a complicated life while your bank account decreases and decreases and decreases because their bank account isn't going to grow. So if your bank account grows and they stay stagnant, it means you're leaving them behind and they can't have that. Right? So, and they need that. It's not just that they can't have that, it's they need that. They really need that money. Because if you're not paying, then the father keeps paying and he's going to be hitting retirement age and he cannot afford to keep treating this person like a princess, especially one who is not. What they see in us is they see selfishness. And they see that selfishness not as self-preservation, but rather as an insult on them. You should want to give up your resources. You should want to give up your money. You should want to give up your time. And in return, you should hope that they'll be faithful to you. And I promise you, they will not. And if they are, it won't be forever. It's definite. They're not going 20 years being faithful to you, right? No matter how honest you are, right? They are going to betray you. They are going to stab you in the back. They are going to deceive you. And you have to understand that deception is an act of war. It is what countries do to each other when they don't like each other. It is what they spy on each other, have surveillance on each other, mislead each other. This is what people who are at war do. And you are in a war of romance, the romance war. And you are being deceived into losing your resources so you cannot stand or defend yourself. Deception, as I've said, is an act of war. And you can only be betrayed by people to whom you have given your trust. You cannot be betrayed by an enemy. And you are in this romance war with people who want to take your resources. And upon taking your resources, they minimize and decrease your capacity to live a fruitful life, to defend yourself, protect yourself, and attack enemies if so needed from a position of advantage. So they decrease your strength and increase their strength so that when you find out that you have been deceived, you have been a pawn in this war, you don't have the capacity to fight back. And even if you did, the counterpart is utterly useless and not even worth the effort it takes to hurt. You just step back and watch their own decisions ruin their own lives. It's truly an amazing thing to behold, right? But the first step in this war is gaining your trust at all costs. And everyone is trying to gain your trust. And they are trying to gain your trust because on the day when you pull off whatever it is that they're saying that you won't do, when you make it as the man that you are, they will be there to come and take your money. And if you think that money isn't everything, all you have to do is stop giving them money. You can give them everything else. Stop providing the financial benefits that you do. And I assure you, you will be in a full-scale combative situation. You will not rest, not one single moment, right? They will be at your neck trying to get that money. And they'll get it too. They'll even take you to court, right? And they have a whole system of this, right? Schools, religions, society, all manufacturers, right? All manufactured to make you spend money on things that you don't need, on things that you don't want, on things that you don't care about, or to keep the counterpart vaguely entertained. Vaguely entertained. Nothing entertains a counterpart more than watching you labor for them, right? They tell their friends about it. They tell their family about it. Oh, he does this for me, does that for me, does this for me, takes me here, takes me there. But they'll never tell you what they do for you. They'll be like, well, I don't do anything for him, and he does all these things for me. It's a point of pride for them to be useless. It's a point of pride for them to be useless and to make you do useless things. It's just the most frustrating thing, right? And if you think that I'm blowing this out of proportion, all you have to do is talk about all the other men's experiences. And if their experience is different to what I'm describing, then I will yield my argument. But if we get 10 men with a similar experience or similar outcomes, right? That's enough. That's enough to prove a pattern. One is a coincidence, right? Two, maybe, but three, that's a pattern. And all we need is 10 men, and I'll show you, we'll find millions, if not billions of men who will attest to this very same truth, all right? So this is why I think it's important to have this discussion, right? Because a lot of men are being deceived, and they cannot understand that deception is an act of war. And this is really why I have such disdain for the counterpart, because we are at war. A war that, quite frankly, doesn't matter who started it. It doesn't matter who told the first lie. What matters is the consequences of those lies, and to keep telling those lies. And where those lies will take you, the outcome, it's going to be devastating, right? And if you think you are not at war, you are sorely mistaken. You are absolutely in a war of deception, a war of manipulation. And this is to extract resources for survival. If they don't extract your resources, they die. So they will take everything you have with no shame, with absolutely no shame, because they can have shame or they can have a house to live. They can have shame or they can have food in their stomach. So shame is completely out the door. You cannot expect these people to have any shame. Why start now? They've been doing it to their father since they were born, and they've been doing it to every knee bender that they've ever met, and they'll do it to their husband, and they'll do it to you too. It's all they know how to do. It's all they know how to do. They can't play no sports. They can't build anything. They're not smart enough to build their own economy, and if they did, it would all be on debt. Trillions of dollars owed in the United States. 80% of them go straight to the counterpart. The other 20 belong to businesses, corporations, the government, and men. 80% to the counterpart, right? And in the government, you can add healthcare, you can add national defense, you can add education, all those things, right? And all the men and all the businesses, they make up the bottom 20%. The top 80% of that debt, all women, all retail. Terrible. And this is why you need to protect yourself, because you are in a romance war, and you are in it for life. And in any moment that you slip up, they've got you. You entertain the wrong woman, you have intimate relations with them, you get her pregnant, you're done. You're done. You are in a war. You are being deceived. Deception is an act of war, and your best protection in this war will always be a vasectomy. It is the ultimate move. They have nothing beyond this. If you say you have a vasectomy, they soon realize that their capacity to extract resources from you is minimal. If she doesn't have a baby by a man, the only thing she gets is a meal at best, right? And they know this. They know this. So what they will do is give the pretense that, oh, we can have children and I may be pregnant and it might be yours. And if it is, then you need to start caring for it. And what does that mean? It means you got to give her money. Don't give her money. Get a vasectomy. Get a vasectomy. This is the Ancient One with a very long video. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. Have a nice day.